attacked it like you would a regular Kimura and realized that the range of motion was about 1 inch. So before I get started, some of you guys like Brennan, I'm sure has shown this too. If you put his hands on the ground, especially guys that wrestle and do jiu-jitsu, like your posture sucks, right? It's just the way it is. If his hand's on the mat, you see how high his shoulder is off the mat? So when I push on the shoulder, watch his hand, okay? See it come up? Not just the way it is for you is on that side. His shoulder's up, and that's gonna happen. So on my finish, his wrist is pinned to the floor, my arm is underneath, and then I'm gonna isolate the shoulder, all right? I'm gonna show you the finish, and I'm gonna show you just like one entrance is basically from the north-south Kimura. I get it from side control Kimura or from a hook sweep. The finish is gonna look like my elbows on the ground, my hands, let's go, hold on. Sorry guys. Let's go over here and face it. My hands are on the ground, the Kimura's locked up, okay? I'm off of my knees, always off my knees on my toes, pressure forward. I walk my hip up until it's right lined up with his shoulder, okay, kind of by his ear. And then I turn my hip down, isolate it, okay? I didn't finish yet, but he tapped. So as I isolate here, I slowly lift my elbow, and there's the tap. So if his arm's straightish, you're gonna feel it in the elbow. If it's a little higher, you're gonna get it to the shoulder, okay? One way I get here is like from this north-south Kimura, if I rip this open and he's flexible, I'll just go right here, okay? All my weight is driving onto the hands. My bicep is pushing into his tricep right here. So his hand, look at it, it's digging into the mat, okay? Walk my weight up, I'll use my chin on top of it to isolate, turn my hip down on his shoulder, and lift. So that spot right there is where I'm dropping my hip. I do it so much my hip bone hurts, okay? So if my hip bone hurts, he has to hurt. So I pass his ear. I'm gonna cover basically along his neck, chest, and over to the body. I'm gonna cover about that much of his body. You do not wanna just come over here and grab this loose because he'll attack me, all right? But like, let's say I hit this from side control Kimura, and I'm here and he walks his hand out. I give my hand to the mat, or my elbow to the mat. I walk driving now, okay? All my weight's forward. I'm not turning my hip like this. My hips stay square. I walk this leg up a little high, and then both hips are gonna drop, but my right hip, the one that's closest to his shoulder, is gonna go first. And finish. See, again, I use my hands if I have to, or my chin, and get that finish. If you do it correct, don't grab it and go like that. Okay, there's not that kind of range of motion in there. If his shoulder, chest, head, anything is isolated like this, and this pressure's down, even if I go like this on him right now, that hurts, okay? But now I'm gonna put my arm underneath there and my whole body weight up here. You show from the sweep, Brennan?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry. I can hit this from a million different places because they all lead to home base. And like I said, my goal is to get to home base. But anytime someone starts to counter, this is there as well. Get on top real quick. If Luke's passing my guard, it's never happened. Okay, I'm lying. If I lock this up, okay, and I get a butterfly hook, and as he starts to pass, I can sweep and come right to it. Okay, get this to the ground, walk my weight out. My elbow's gonna drop down. Lift the elbow. So this frame between his wrist and my elbow is gonna stop his hand from going closer to the body. I rotate my wrist down, so that was a super tight frame. When I have this grip, okay, this right here, pressure forward, if you watch his hand, as it dents the mat, as I get on my toes, I'm driving forward, okay? That lifts his shoulder even a little bit higher, all right? So once I get here, drop it down, and raise my elbow.
Coach, I've been putting the elbow in the armpit, so that's wrong.
Whose elbow?
Mine, on top.
This way?
Yeah.
Yeah, because not the whatever, but if he pulls, I'm not strong going back to his pull to your body that way. I'm framing right there, okay, just like that. So like if I was to come from sweeping, I come to here and start driving up and get this up here framed down.
I think I was...
Same thing if I'm my side control Kimura, just so you guys know. my elbow stays on the body, okay? I don't do it here. I finish right here. And the range of motion on my finish is just like the one I'm showing you right now. It's this much. It takes away the flexibility. But this came from if a strong guy walks his hands out and gets away from you, now tuck it. Okay, so he can't come back. Walk around the head. Stay off of your knees.
I think I was trying to maybe bend my arm too much.
I keep this one straight. Side control Kimura, I jack up. But Showstopper, it's when they start to straighten it out. Sorry. They start to straighten it out and get that shoulder. Cool? All right, pair 1, 2.